CBS Sports welcomes you to Kansas Coliseum in Wichita for second-round action in the Midwest region. In the first of two games here today, the 2-seed Massachusetts takes on Maryland, the number 10 seed. Maryland beat St. Louis in the first round, while UMass took care of Southwest Texas State. In the second game here today, Michigan will battle Texas. To the table. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, and it's great to have you with us for the second meeting this season between Maryland and Massachusetts. They played on December 29th in Springfield, Mass, and Maryland suffered its worst defeat of the year. They lost that game by 14 points. But the Terrapins think they're a much better team now after 2 months of competition in the ACC, and they're looking forward to today's rematch with the Minutemen. I'm joined by Derek Dickey. Derek, Maryland was very impressive in its first round win against St. Louis, and we saw why Joe Smith was the National Freshman of the Year.
Joe Smith is such a talented player, Sean. He is a complete player. He is relentless when he gets the ball down low, but what I like about him is his composure out on the court. Coach Williams says that he's just excellent when it comes to keeping his head in the game, can shoot the ball down low, but also likes to step out on the court, has the ability to pass from there, but can also knock down about the 10 or 12-foot jump shot.
Joe Smith against St. Louis had a double-double by halftime. He finished the game with 29 points and 15 rebounds. Massachusetts, meanwhile, in the first win over Maryland, had two players who really did in the Terrapins almost by themselves. Mr. Inside in Lou Roe and Mr. Outside in Mike Williams. They combined for 55 points.
Well, Lou Roe likes to get the ball down on the block. He's very powerful when he gets the ball in his hands, takes it to the basket as strong as he can, possibly. But on the outside, you got Mike Williams, who's able to pass the ball inside and also knock down that jumper.
The winner heads to the Sweet 16 next weekend in Dallas, and let's meet the starting lineups for Maryland. X-Ray Hip, Keith Booth, Joe Smith, Johnny Rhodes, and Dwayne Simpkins. For Massachusetts, Dana Dingle and Dante Bright are the forwards. Lou Roe starts at center. Mike Williams and Derek Kellogg are the guards. The officials working this one: Gerald Boudreau, Sam Croft, and Eric Harmon. We mentioned the first meeting in late December in Springfield, Massachusetts, won by the Minutemen 94-80. Gary Williams said that Maryland had two big problems. They were badly out-rebounded, as you can tell by those numbers, 42-30, and Massachusetts got to the free throw line much too frequently. They had twice as many free throws as the Terrapins. Gary says we have to stay away from foul trouble today and do a better job on the boards. John Calipari trying to take Massachusetts back to the Sweet 16. Last year they were eliminated in the second round by Virginia in the East region at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. Maryland dressed in red. Massachusetts as the higher seed in the home white uniforms. And Lou Roe will jump center with Joe Smith to get this one started.
This game is going to be a lot closer than you can imagine because both teams take care of the basketball. It's going to be important who controls the paint and who also controls the board in this game. UMass is going to apply a lot of pressure all over the court, whereas Maryland likes to back off after they set their initial press once or twice.
Dante Bright, the freshman, lost the handle as he tried to put up a shot from the free throw line. X-Ray Hip leads it in. Lays it in for Maryland, and Maryland has the lead 2-0.
The Terrapins want to run every time they get their hands on the ball. Get it to the middle of the court and try to attack.
Dana Dingle, he's a left-hander, and now Mike Williams. Roe is double-teamed, and Dante Bright scores. Bright, Dante playing head-to-head today against his first cousin, the Terrapins' Keith Booth. They grew up right across the street from each other in Baltimore, and Dante said that Keith is more like a brother to him than he is a first cousin. This is Booth with the ball now, and Dwayne Simpkins, the point guard, number 10. Into Smith, guarded by Roe. He scores over Roe, and Maryland leads 4-2.
Joe Smith showing his versatility, getting the ball in the low post and pitching it back out and receiving it again.
John Calipari said Massachusetts wasn't going to do anything differently to defend Smith, and Roe answers Smith's score with a bucket of his own at the other end. He said it's going to fall on the shoulders of Lou Roe or Marcus Camby to try to stop Joe Smith one-on-one.
So staying in the game is going to be important for Camby and also Lou Roe. Stay out of foul trouble. Keep a double team on Smith as much as possible.
Booth, the offensive rebound and score after a miss by X-Ray Hip. Maryland with 6 quick points in just over a minute and a half, and the Terrapins lead 6-4. Maryland trying to get back to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1985. Derek Kellogg got his own rebound. Dante Bright missed a short one.
Excellent rebounding by UMass, staying after the ball on the offensive end. I think we're seeing a display of how tight these rims really are here.
Teams complained about how tight the rims were after the first round game. This arena is not used very often for basketball. Lou Roe had a shot blocked. Booth got a hand on it. Smith was able to save it along the end line. Johnny Rose handled the pass from him. Booth working on his cousin Bright. Dante got a piece of the ball, but Gerald Boudreaux said he also got a piece of his cousin, Keith Booth.
We'll take a look at Joe Smith down here on the block. He's waiting for the double team and pitches the ball back out. Then he turns to face the basket, knowing the defender is just far enough away from him so he can get the ball in the basket. And you see his great hands on defense. Ball is actually going out of bounds, and he saves it and gets it in the hands of one of his teammates.
Matt Paverick, number 11, has checked in for Maryland at guard. Keith Booth is the free throw shooter. The 61% free throw shooter is Booth. Simpkins apparently shaken up on the last play, and that's why Paverick has checked into the game. 2 free throws by Keith Booth. Maryland, the youngest team in the tournament in terms of its starting lineup. Booth's a freshman, one of 2 in the starting lineup along with Smith, and the other 3 starters are sophomores. Paverick, who just came in, is a freshman.
Well, neither of these teams have seniors that contribute. Maryland has no seniors. UMass only has 1, Craig Berry, who's actually a walk-on, a non-scholarship player.
Marcus Camby checks in. Dante Bright has gone to the bench for Massachusetts. The Minutemen down 8-4. We played 2.5 minutes here in Wichita. Mike Williams guilty of carrying the ball. He had X-Ray Hip sneaking up behind him.
You're going to watch number 5 at the top of the key. Take a look at Simpkins right there, Dwayne Simpkins. He actually catches an elbow right across, it appears, the chin, and has to come out of the game. He's just shaken up briefly. I think he'll be back on the court.
Maryland with the ball and an 8-4 lead. Johnny Rose gets the bounce.
Nice entry pass by X-Ray Hip, and Rose just takes the position inside where he wants it.
Camby, the home run ball, and Lou Roe was fouled by X-Ray Hip. There was some unpleasantness between these 2 teams at the end of their game in late December. The Maryland players thought that Massachusetts did an awful lot of trash talking once it was obvious that the Minutemen were going to win that game. And the Maryland players were saying they didn't know they'd have to face us again, but surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. You see a nice outlet pass from Marcus Camby. Lou Roe receives the ball, and yes, there is a little bit of jawing going on between Hip and Lou Roe, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that, and hopefully the officials recognize that and calm it down so that the players don't get out of hand.
Roe made the first. He set a UMass single-season record this year for free throws made and attempted. Broke the records held by Dr. J. Julius Irving. Roe has gone to the line now 313 times this season. Foul in the backcourt. Dingle a little too tight on Keith Booth. It's the first foul on Dana Dingle, and Dwayne Simpkins comes back in quickly. Gary
Williams, the coach of Maryland, showing a lot of confidence with Keith Booth, allowing the freshman to bring the ball up the court under pressure.
Now in the Maryland lineup. Now it's Simpkins, guarded carefully by Kellogg. Bounced it into Smith. Now it's Camby guarding Smith, and Smith traveled as he tried to shed Camby. 2 of the best freshmen in the country going head-to-head in that matchup.
It is a good matchup, but a lot of people try to compare the 2 guys, Camby and Joe Smith. Take a look at the ball as it goes inside. Smith is going to give a quick fake and then try to go around and picks up his pivot foot, but it's really not fair because Marcus Camby has Lou Roe, who is dependent on the score inside. Joe Smith has to do it himself for Maryland.
On the subject of comparisons, John Calipari, a former assistant at Kansas, was talking to Ed Manning the other night on the phone. Ed Manning was also an assistant at Kansas when his son Danny led the Jayhawks to the national championship. John Calipari said, "Who does Marcus Camby remind you of as a freshman?" And Ed Manning immediately said, "He reminds me of Danny."
At the freshman stage. And Marcus,
freshman stage of their careers.
Absolutely. Marcus has a lot of growing to do with his basketball skills. Not a very physical player, as Danny wasn't at that stage.
Rhodes missed a short one. Rebounded by Mike Williams. Has Roe ahead of the field. Roe's been getting out on the break. Blocked by Smith. A clean block. The Massachusetts bench wanted a goaltending call. Then Simpkins lost the handle in the backcourt. Timeout with Maryland leading by 2.
See Keith Booth, number 22, coming behind Lou Roe to swat the shot out of the air, but 3 blocks so far in this game by Maryland, trying to keep this game close and keep it under control.
Massachusetts 3 out of 8 from the floor. 3 of their 5 missed shots have been block shots by Maryland. Terrapins 4 out of 6 in the early going, and they lead by 2, 15-40 left in the first half.
I think Maryland's going to be to their advantage if they can keep this a half-court game, slow UMass down just enough so that they don't get easy layups.
Nice pass by Marcus Camby, and Dante Bright laid it in to tie the game at 10. Bright has 4. Edgar Padilla, wearing number 12, has checked in for UMass. Simpkins' pass batted out of bounds. Dante Bright got a hand on it.
Bounce pass would have gotten through there, but take a look at the give and go. Marcus Camby's going to receive the ball. Keep moving without the basketball. Dante Bright's going to come up with the easy backdoor layup.
Smith had it rattle out. 2 Terrapins there. X-ray hip and Johnny Rhodes. They couldn't connect. Kellogg content just to fire it into the backcourt.
That's a good save. You don't want to save it under your opponent's basket.
Booth lays it in. And Maryland is back up by 2. We've played 5 minutes. Keith Booth has 6. Maryland likes to press, and John Calipari said it's easy to break the press when you have Marcus Camby in the game. We've seen it a couple of times. They just lob the ball into him at the foul line, and he catches it and looks up the floor.
Great press breaker on the offensive end, and also if you have a guard, a point guard who has the ability to dribble between a press.
Hip got stuck in the air and threw it into the hands of Camby. Padilla, nice pass. Bright scores along the end line. Dante Bright has 6.
John Calipari also talked yesterday about how good a passing team that UMass has become. They've matured during the year, really found each other. When you have young players, it takes a while to develop the chemistry.
Simpkins lobbed it into Rhodes, and there was a foul. Derek Kellogg called for putting the hold on Johnny Rhodes. 12-12 the score. 14-15 left in the first half here in Wichita. They tried to send it into Booth, and he's called for the hold. He lost the handle and then fouled Dana Dingle. First foul on Booth.
How many times do we see a freshman or a young player make that mistake? They lose the ball, they turn it over, they compound it by making another mistake.
All 12 Massachusetts points from in close. Padilla, freshman from Springfield, Massachusetts, played his final year of high school basketball in Puerto Rico. Lou Roe faced the bucket and missed, and Hip went high in the air for the rebound.
You talk about the points in the paint so far in this game. In the first meeting between these two teams, UMass had 63 points in the paint, Maryland only 46.
Simpkins for 3. Dwayne Simpkins gives the Terrapins a 3-point lead.
If the Terrapins can remain patient on offense, instead of trying to attack Camby and Roe inside, they have a chance to move the ball quickly and get good wide-open shots.
Gary Williams felt that the Terrapins rushed too many shots in the first game in their half-court offense against the ball-hawking Massachusetts defense. Padilla, that's a 2-point try. Camby got a hand on it, as did Hip. Camby kept it alive from Mike Williams. Dwayne Simpkins, talking about the improvement of the Maryland team since that UMass game, said he thought they were most improved in running their half-court offense. Roe missed the shot. Foul. And Dana Dingle will go to the free throw line as he was hit hard by Johnny Rhodes. The Terrapins come into this one with a record of 17-11. They finished tied for 4th in the ACC with Virginia. They're now 11-0 in first-round games in the NCAA tournament after their win over St. Louis. Gary Williams' club shot 58% against the Billikens. Dana Dingle had one of his best games of the year against the Terps the first time around.
Dana Dingle, before the Southwest Texas State game, got a little sick. He actually threw up before the game, and Coach John Calipari said he was concerned about that because he wasn't sure if he was nervous or if he really had something wrong with his stomach.
Well, it was nerves. John Calipari said a lot of people were afraid his team would take Southwest Texas State lightly. Said just before the game, he looked down his bench and 2 players were getting physically ill along the sideline. That's when he knew they weren't looking past the Bobcats. Lucas might have gotten away with a travel. Mario Lucas, number 21, just checked in for Maryland. Maryland leads 15-13. This is Lucas from Memphis, Tennessee. He misses his first shot. Smith, with Jeff Meyer now in the game for UMass, scores over Meyer.
Excellent hustle by Joe Smith to keep the rebound alive and to avoid the foul on the offensive end and get the stick back.
All 5 Maryland starters have scored, and the Terrapins lead is 4 points. Just under 12.5 minutes left in the first half. Sean McDonough with Derek Dickey. This is second-round action in the Midwest region. Texas and Michigan still to come here in Wichita today. Strong drive by Mike Williams, and he laid it in. First points for Williams. Simpkins had it knocked out of bounds. Maryland retains possession.
Take a look at Joe Smith right here in the middle of your screen. Watch what he does in terms of going over the back. He avoids the contact by putting his hands up, gets the ball in his hands, a couple of quick head fakes, and up and under with 3 guys around him, still able to finish that play off. Excellent hustle.
Matt Kavart, freshman from Greensboro, North Carolina, passed up some Division I college soccer scholarship offers to play basketball at Maryland.
Less than 10 on the shot clock.
Kellogg, an excellent defender, was guarding Simpkins one-on-one. Now he has switched to Kavart. They need a shot. Long 3. Goes! Wayne Simpkins, with the shot clock expiring, has 6 points now and a pair of 3-pointers.
Well, you can't hope to continue to shoot at the pace that the Terrapins are shooting, but they have to play good defense and also not allow UMass to get second and third shots on the offensive glass.
Roe guarded by Smith. Kellogg open for 3. Along with it, Dingle batted the rebound to Kellogg. Roe scores over Joe Smith.
That's the problem that Maryland's going to have. If UMass is able to dominate the boards, especially on their offensive end, they're going to not only stay in this game, but they're going to be able to come away with the lead.
Lucas having trouble with the handle as he was guarded by Bright. Now Kavart into the lane. Out of bounds off Dana Dingle. The Terrapins will keep it. Maryland by 3. We're back right after this.
Stood there boldly, sweating in the sun. Felt like a million. Felt like number 1. Like a rock. I was strong as I could be. Like a rock. Nothing ever got to me. Like a rock. I was something to see. Like a rock.
The most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Chevy.
Standing arrow straight. Like a rock. Charging from the gate. Like a rock. Carrying the weight. Like a rock. Like a rock.
Okay, here goes. Abracadabra. No dialing? Like Shazam? Just my voice? Okay, okay. Call home. It works. I knew it would.
Call now for the revolutionary voice-activated phone card. Only from Sprint.
This is the award-winning Goodyear AquaTread with its deep groove aqua channel. And this is the new Eagle AquaTread for performance sedans. A wider performance tire with 2 aqua channels to sweep water away. Now you get the wet traction of a Goodyear AquaTread and the performance of a Goodyear Eagle. One good turn deserves another. The new Eagle AquaTread, only from Goodyear. We say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
This week on Dave, Bill Cosby, Diane Sawyer, Neil Diamond, Elle McPherson, and Rosie O'Donnell. This week.
Maryland leads by 3 on the strength of excellent shooting. Terrapins 8 for 13 to this point against Massachusetts. And Maryland doing a much better job than they did the first time around against the Minutemen on the boards. Now rebounding Massachusetts by 3. Simpkins with 8 quick points. He only had 7 points for the whole game in the first round win over St. Louis.
Simpkins also was in foul trouble, wound up with 4 fouls in that game. That kept him out of the game. That's why he was limited in points.
Lou Roe answers at the other end. Lou Roe has 8 of the 19 Massachusetts points. Maryland by 3, nearly midway through the first half. Been a very well-played first 10 minutes.
Not a lot of turnovers in the game so far. Both teams seem to be taking pretty good care of the ball. They just have to both do a better job of rebounding on their defensive ends.
X-ray hit. Down low to Booth. Traveling the call. They wave off the goal. They say that Booth took steps as he tried to move around Lou Roe.
I thought that was an excellent move by Keith Booth on the baseline. He's going to seal off Lou Roe and take the ball to the basket, and just a little hop. I did not see a travel there. That's an automatic call that you normally get going to the basket.
Edgar Padilla guarded by Kavarik. Padilla and Kellogg now the backcourt. Derek Kellogg today starting his 66th straight game for the University of Massachusetts. This was a man who, coming out of high school in Springfield, Mass, had scholarship. Oh, Camby, the reverse jam off the feed from Dante Bright. But Kellogg, when he was a senior in high school, was getting scholarship offers only from Siena and Fairfield. That's a backcourt violation. The Simpkins was guarded by Kellogg and lost the handle. Derek Kellogg had Fairfield take its scholarship offer away because somebody else accepted. He went to UMass, and here's a look at the dunk.
Nice pass inside by Dante Bright, but just a great seal off by Marcus Camby to be able to receive the ball in midair, find the ball first and then the basket, and throw it behind his head. Great athleticism. Watch the catch, the look, and the finish.
Kellogg trying to get it in, and finally does. Edgar Padilla, just to finish the story about Derek Kellogg, he was so lightly regarded coming out of high school that a talk show host in Springfield, Massachusetts, said that John Calipari should be fired when he offered Derek Kellogg a scholarship to play basketball at UMass. That it was a waste of taxpayers' money in Massachusetts, and all he's done is be the starting point guard for one of the best teams in the country the last 2 years.
I'd say that's a compliment not only to Derek, but also to Coach John Calipari for having the courage to be able to put him out there in that position and let him play basketball.
Smith was fouled, and they ruled a shooting foul. It's on Edgar Padilla, who reached in trying to help Marcus Camby. First foul on Padilla.
We saw Joe Smith against St. Louis have a terrific basketball game. 29 points on 10 out of 15 shots from the field. Also 15 rebounds in 38 minutes of play. So he has to be on the floor so that he can help the Terrapins, not just on the offensive end, but also rebounding and changing shots in the middle.
Smith got the bounce on the first one. He has 5. Averaging a double-double for the season at almost 20 points and 11 rebounds per game. Only 4 freshmen in ACC history have averaged a double-double for the year. Mike Truminski, Ralph Sampson, Tree Rollins, and Buck Williams. And Smith with an excellent chance to join that list. Padilla, the lob. Camby was fouled. Maryland leads by 3. And Camby will go to the free throw line.
Marcus Camby is showing some great hands out there and receiving the ball off the pass, off the dribble.
Team foul. The Minutemen come in at 28-6, the second seed in the Midwest. They beat Southwest Texas State by 18, led the entire game in round 1. And they posted the win over Maryland back in the Hall of Fame Classic in Springfield in late December. 5 points now for Camby, the freshman from Hartford, Connecticut. It's a 1-point game. Maryland with the lead and the ball. Under 9 minutes left in the first half.
Marcus Camby struggled in the first meeting with Maryland. Only 9 points. 1 out of 9 from the field. He wants to prove that he can play.
Rhodes lays it in. 4 points for Johnny Rhodes, the sophomore from Washington, D.C., out of Washington Dunbar High School. Maryland has led through most of the first half. They're up by 3 at the moment. Camby strong to the goal. Charge.
Camby's going to have to make a better decision there. Do you stop? Do you pull up? Or do you take the jumper? He was only about 8 or 9 feet from the basket. He could have taken the jumper, but he decides to charge into the basket to try to get a little bit closer and picks up that foul. And I thought it was an unnecessary foul.
The first on Camby, the 5th against the Minutemen. Simpkins to Rhodes on the floor with Booth, Hip, and Smith, the starting fivesome, back out there intact for Maryland. Smith shut off by Camby. 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Joe Smith did not force that ball. He was able to get his composure and then pass the ball back out.
Simpkins into the lane, a little bit too high off the window, but Smith there for the slam.
Joe Smith is showing that he has excellent timing that we already know. Great composure, did not get rattled by the double team, and came from the weak side to follow the shot block attempt by Marcus Camby.
Smith has 8. Camby trying to answer the other end, and he was fouled. Fouls on Keith Booth, his second.
Something that Gary Williams wanted to try to exploit. Whenever the shot would go up, you see 2 shot blockers, Roe and also Marcus Camby, going after it. He wanted to get weak side help, and you're going to see a great effort by Joe Smith coming to fill the backside, get the ball at its peak, and be able to ram it home, only because he continued to move after his man left.
Camby didn't play high school basketball at all his junior year in high school. He switched high schools and had to sit out a year. He's now 2 out of 3 from the line. Growing up in Hartford, Marcus got a lot of pressure to go to the University of Connecticut. Decided to go to Massachusetts instead, not that far from downtown Hartford. It's a 4-point game. We're back after this. Let's look around the country. 2 other games in progress. Inside of 4 minutes to go first half, and the Orangemen lead by 6 over Wisconsin Green Bay. Syracuse in the white uniforms and pressing right now.
I really think they want to try to force the tempo, Jim. Syracuse is a little bigger and stronger inside, so it's important that they take advantage of that and also try to speed this game up a little bit. I really think if they get up by 8 or 9, it puts tremendous pressure on Wisconsin Green Bay.
Foul over the back against the Fighting Phoenix of Dick Bennett. His team used that first round upset of Cal. Now a shift over to Long Island. Penn and Florida in action right now. And the Quakers lead 11-8 with 12.5 to go first half of that one, Clark.
Well, Pennsylvania is a team that really shoots the three-point shot well, and when they spread you out because of their effectiveness from behind the line, then they start taking you off the dribble. So it's really important that Florida stay tight, defend the three-point line, then be ready to help inside. I think Florida has an advantage inside with Dimitri Hill and Leclerc, and they've also got excellent backcourt players in Craig Brown and Dan Cross.
Another rebound by Craig Brown, and Florida trails 11-8. More updates coming at halftime. We'll take a little longer look at those games. Now Maryland's added a hoop, so let's go back to Sean and Derek. Thank you, Jim and Clark. While you're away, the 2 teams exchange turnovers, and then Johnny Rhodes hit X3 Hep on an alley-oop play for the only bucket you missed while you were away. And Maryland lost it out of bounds. Simpkins trying to execute the save, dove with the ball over the sideline. It will be Massachusetts inbound, down by 6 with 6.5 minutes left in the half.
Going to see the slam on our replay. The pass from Johnny Rhodes on the outside to X-Ree Hip. A great design play out of bounds by Gary Williams just to try to get another high percentage shot.
Lou Roe whips the ball to Dingle. Lucas came swatting at the ball from behind and apparently got a piece of Dingle as well. Maryland with the lead because they continue to shoot the ball extremely well. 65% to this point. They're also out rebounding the Minutemen. Joe Smith leading the way again for the Terrapins, who have held their own in the paint with the powerful Minutemen.
That's what's kept them in the game for the most part. They've gotten control of the paint, and Maryland, in order for them to continue this lead, have to block UMass off of their offensive glass, and Maryland needs to control the defensive boards.
Dana Dingle didn't play organized basketball until high school. He went to St. Raymond to play baseball. Wound up playing basketball, never did make his way to the baseball field. Rhodes trying to answer quickly, long with the shot. Roe the rebound, might have been poked in the eye. He was, and the officials stopped the game for Lou Roe.
Derek Kellogg appeared as he ran, and Johnny Rhodes made him change that shot slightly. Take a look at Johnny Rhodes as he takes a shot from the outside, but watches Lou Roe has the ball in his hands. Coming from the weak side, X-Ree Hip gets a little piece of the forehead or the eye of Lou Roe. Had to stop the action momentarily. He appears to be okay.
Kellogg trapped in a tough spot right along the midcourt line. Now Williams for 3, short with it. Rhodes the rebound. Maryland with the ball, leading by 5, under 6 minutes left in the first half. Hip a good catch of the pass from Simpkins. Rhodes, Hip, and Simpkins grew up playing with and against each other in Washington, D.C. Smith short with it. Camby a rebound. Kellogg left open for 3. He's their most dependable three-point shooter. And that's the first points of the game for Derek Kellogg. The Minutemen back within 2.
Derek Kellogg about a 39% three-point shooter, and UMass 1 out of 5 so far after that last shot by Kellogg. But if the Minutemen are able to be patient on the offensive end, move the ball quickly, they can get that shot anytime they want it.
Going to Smith again. Camby did a good job in 2 sequences at Maryland possession and defending Smith in the low post. So the Minutemen with a chance to tie it with a 2-point field goal take the lead with 3. Dingle gives them 2 and the tie. Dingle.
Excellent head and shoulder fake by Mike Williams to set up that possession to be able to get the ball down inside. The Minutemen again controlling the paint.
30-30 to score. Approaching 4.5 minutes left in the first half here in Wichita. Lucas the fall away. Well short. Roe the rebound. His 4th board.
Lou Roe and Marcus Camby seem to be dominating their defensive end, not allowing Maryland to turn inside and get the shots where they want. They've all been fadeaway shots the last 3 or 4 possessions down court.
15 on the shot clock. Williams the pull-up, and the one-hander goes, and Massachusetts has the lead. Williams with 4 points, and the lead for UMass is 2. An 8-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes for UMass. This is the first lead for the Minutemen. Kellogg, great save.
We've seen Kellogg and Padilla, both guards for UMass, hustling after loose balls, and as long as the Minutemen can come up with these loose balls, get the extra possession, they have a chance to continue to take more shots than Maryland and shoot a low percentage and still stay in the game.
John Calipari thought both Kellogg and Padilla were a little bit tentative running the point in the game against Southwest Texas State. Camby shows his range. He has 9, and Gary Williams wants to stop the run that is now 10-0 for the Minutemen. They lead by 4 with 3:22 left in the half.
We're ball players and we're okay. We're not fat and lazy like the bonus say. In spring we train.
Takes that jump shot, which is an area where he's going to have to improve his game on.
Team as though Maryland was going to make him prove at least once he could make that shot, because they made no effort to go out there and defend him. After the Maryland timeout, the Terrapins with the ball, down by 4, approaching 3 minutes left in the first half. Maryland started the game hitting 10 of its first 15 from the field. Since then, they're 2 for the last 7. Nick Bosnick just into the game, fed Booth. He lost a handle. Shot clock. Rhodes was fouled as he went for the free ball. Both Padilla and Williams were there, and the foul is on Edgar Padilla, his second.
You may wonder why Gary Williams didn't call a timeout earlier. You know, when UMass was making an 8-0, 10-0 run, the score was still close, within 2 or 4 points. It's not a time to panic, in my opinion. And what happened is Maryland was getting the shots they wanted in the paint. They were just taking shots with a defender right in their face, Marcus Camby.
Offensive foul, the call.
Gary Williams is asking why.
Keith Booth called for the foul. Three-point try for Williams. And the run continues. Now 13 unanswered points for the Minutemen.
Mike Williams had 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists in the first meeting against Maryland.
That last foul on Booth was his third. He continues to play and slams the missed shot by Simpkins. That ends the run. Maryland back within 5 as we tick down to 2 minutes left. That's a 2-pointer for Dante Bright.
The Minutemen are starting to move the ball quickly enough that they can get just about any shot they want, get it inside to Roe or Camby, pitch it back out on the perimeter, work the inside-outside game.
Bosnick to Smith. They continue to do an excellent job defending Smith. It's Roe charged with that duty now, and a foul on the follow-up action, and a technical has been called. No indication yet from Sam Croft which team was called for the technical. I think the way the Massachusetts bench is clapping that it's going against Gary Williams' team, as you might tell by his expression.
Take a look at the balls that's going up on the board. You're going to see Keith Booth come underneath. There's a push from the backside. Should have been a foul there on Keith Booth. But I think as the action goes away, Booth appears to be the player who says something that the officials heard. And taunting is obviously not going to be tolerated in this game. And it is a technical foul on Keith Booth.
First, he'll shoot the free throws. Now the technical counts as a personal foul against Booth, so that's his 4th. Gary Williams decided to roll the dice and let him play after he picked up the 3rd on the charge. Now he has 4. Keith Booth shooting the 2nd free throw. The foul was called on Mike Williams, his 1st. The 2nd one spins out, so Massachusetts has a 6-point lead with 1:45 left. Now they'll go to the other end to shoot the technical against Booth. Booth goes out of the game with 4 fouls, and that is huge for Maryland. Booth averages better than 10 points per game and 6 rebounds. And other than Smith, he's one of the few Terrapins who can really muscle his way inside.
Well, Maryland started this game by getting the ball down inside to Booth and also to Joe Smith and dominating the paint. But as the momentum started to change, you saw UMass getting the ball where they wanted to, using the shot blocking ability of Marcus Camby and Lou Roe to control the middle. Now they've controlled it on the defensive end and the offensive end.
The winner of this one plays the winner of the Texas-Michigan game coming up next. That'll be in the Sweet 16 in Dallas. It's an 8-point lead for Massachusetts, the largest lead for the Minutemen. They trailed through much of this first half. Roe's baseline jumper wouldn't go, and the Terrapins push it up the floor. Simpkins had his pass deflected, gathered back in, then was flipped by Padilla. Both sides over the limit. We'll have free throws the rest of the half. 1:23 remaining. Still the Pennzoil at the half. That is the 3rd personal foul on Edgar Padilla. And Dwayne Simpkins goes to the line.
Wayne Simpkins had a pretty good game against St. Louis. He had 7 points, 4 rebounds, but 11 assists.
That's a career high in assists for Simpkins. A little bit surprised that Gary Williams left Booth in the game with those 3 fouls.
I agree with that because there was still plenty of time left on the clock, a little over 3 minutes, and he was still on the floor. I didn't think that was a very wise decision.
Bright rebounded the miss. Massachusetts by 7. Minute 15 left of the half. Bright had it blocked by Smith. Roe scores. Lucas stuck a hand in to defend, but Lou Roe was able to score. 10 points for Roe.
Lou Roe is so active around the glass and loose balls. Got great hands.
Johnny Rhodes scores at the other end. And traveling the call against Dana Dingle.
Terrapins now trying to turn up their defensive intensity, and we're going to keep an eye on when they trap. They trapped the first time, cut off the passing lanes.
Technical on John Calipari. He didn't like the traveling call against Dingle, protested a bit too loudly, and now his assistants step in to avoid the second technical and the ejection.
They better step in awfully quickly because Calipari is on the edge of receiving a second tee.
I thought Al McGuire made a great point on the Purdue-Alabama game earlier today. When one official makes the call, it really shouldn't be another official who makes the technical, because the official who made the call might know in his heart or mind if it was a bad call or not, even after he's made it. And in this case, it was Sam Croft who called the travel, and then Eric Harmon who teed up John Calipari. Simpkins made the first. He has 10 points, the lead down to 6, so a chance for Maryland to take some momentum into the locker room at halftime. The lead is 5. They have the ball out of bounds with 51 seconds left in the half.
John Calipari just voicing his opinion about why the charge was not called. The officials thought that he was out of line in his protest. This could be a big turnaround for Maryland if they can get a basket after the technical foul.
They've endured a 13-0 run by Massachusetts. Gave the Minutemen the lead. Lucas too strong with a shot. Camby outdueled Smith for the rebound, and UMass can hold for the final shot of the half.
Marcus Camby's doing a tremendous job inside defending. He's blocked a couple of shots, but more importantly than that, he's making Maryland change those shot opportunities.
Hip with a size advantage at 6'8". Williams. Time for Maryland to hoist a shot. They don't have to hurry. Rhodes fires a 3 at the buzzer. Short. And Roe the rebound. That's the end of the first half with the score: Massachusetts 43 and Maryland 38. Jim Nance and Clark Kellogg will be along with Pennzoil at the half after this message.
CBS Sports exclusive.
Welcome back to Wichita, where Massachusetts leads Maryland by 5 at the half. Sean McDonough with Derek Dickey. The key stretch of the first half was a 13-0 run by UMass. That took them from down 6 points to up 7. And a big key as we head toward the second half, Derek, is Keith Booth's going to start the second half on the bench because he picked up 4 fouls.
Well, he is, Sean, because the 6'5" freshman out of Baltimore is a very good basketball player. He did a good job, I thought, defending, also scoring. He did a great job rebounding. Without his presence, Maryland's going to have to go deeper into their bench.
He picked up his 3rd foul with 2:50 left in the half. Gary Williams left him in. Booth should have showed some restraint knowing he had 3. Instead, he got a technical foul a minute and 3 seconds later. Maryland's field goal shooting really tailed off over the second half of the first half after starting 10 for 15, 4 for 13 the rest of the way. Massachusetts starting to assert itself in the paint as they did a better job late in the half on Joe Smith. And UMass really didn't have much of a problem against that Maryland full court press.
Well, Maryland always has to be concerned about the pressure that UMass is going to apply. They already have 10 turnovers that first half. UMass only has 4, so pressure the second half for both teams is going to be important. Who takes the better care of the ball?
Booth, a key player for Maryland, on the bench with 4 fouls as the second half begins. Mario Lucas, number 21, opens the half in his spot. Johnny Rhodes knocks in the first shot of the second half. He has 8 points. Maryland has cut the deficit down to 3. They look to attack the pressure. Kellogg. All alone, Dana Dingle. Somebody fell asleep along the back line of the Maryland defense, and Dingle had an easy 2. He has 6.
Maryland did such a good job with overplaying out on the perimeter that they failed to get back in cover. Kellogg makes an easy pass inside, and Dingle gets the easy layup.
Maryland led by as much as 6 in the first half. Hip shot well short. The largest Massachusetts lead was 9. UMass didn't have the lead at all in the first half until they were up 32-30. Inside, Smith blocks the shot by Roe, and it's tracked down by Rhodes in the corner.
UMass is having no trouble getting the ball inside where they want and going for the high percentage shots.
Joe Smith banks it in. He has 10. And again, the Terrapins look to press to the backcourt. John Calipari said if you can beat that first trap, ordinarily Maryland will just sprint back up the floor and play defense, and that's held true to form today. Dante Bright scored in the lane. He has 10 points. UMass by 5.
UMass again able to get the ball inside where they want with no difficulty at all, past the first and second line of defense by Maryland.
Lucas called for traveling.
Going to see the big guy, Joe Smith, taking the ball on the perimeter, faked Lou Roe out of his shoes pretty much, and goes right around him for an uncontested layup.
And at the other end, that was his second block of the game. It's certainly an ordinary name, Joe Smith. The campus newspaper at the University of Maryland, the Diamondback, held a contest to find a nickname, but none of them stuck. Massachusetts by 5. We played nearly 2 minutes in the second half. Minutemen led by 5 at the break. Lou Roe powers in for 2 more. He has 12. X-ray hit. The slam at the other end.
Both teams are able to get the ball down low inside on the fast break transition deep offense, but they have to work harder, I feel, on transition defense. UMass can dominate inside, which they did the first half, and they are continuing to get the ball inside the paint.
Lucas called for the foul as he hit Roe from behind. 2 fouls on Mario Lucas.
Transition offense by Maryland. Get the ball out front. X-ray hip out of Washington, D.C. Runs out in front of the defense and able to get another easy layup for Gary Williams' team.
Dana Dingle back into the Massachusetts lineup. X-ray hip, a great name. Said his first name was a Cherokee Indian word meaning little brave. His father's side of his family is Cherokee Indian from Columbia, South Carolina originally. Kellogg left alone, takes the 3, and Derek Kellogg knocked it in. He has 6 points on a couple of 3-point field goals.
Kellogg's making some very good decisions. He's made a couple of entry passes inside to Camby and Roe. This time the defense backs off. He just takes advantage.
Lucas was shut off by Camby. He has it back from hip. Camby way out near the 3-point line to block the shot. Now he runs the floor. Marcus Camby!
The freshman out of Hartford, Connecticut, showing it on both ends of the court.
Largest lead for UMass. Camby blocked the shot at the 3-point line on defense, ran the floor, and finished the play with the acrobatic slam. Lucas for 3. Terrapins needed that one. And Mario Lucas, the sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee, gave it to them. He's out of Fairleigh High School. That school won 3 Memphis City championships while he was there. That's the first school in Memphis history to accomplish that feat.
Only the second 3-pointer by Lucas all year. 2 out of 7 from 3-point range.
Massachusetts by 5. We've played nearly 4 minutes in the second half here in Wichita. Second game here today matches Texas and Michigan.
Good defense by the Terrapins, keeping UMass on the perimeter.
Roe found Camby all alone, and as the shot clock was about to expire, Camby slammed it home. He has 13 points, and he's more than holding his own in this ballyhooed head-to-head matchup of 2 of the best freshmen in the country, Smith and Camby.
Well, they're both doing a good job, but going to see, I like what both teams are trying to do with penetration.
Count the bucket. Joe Smith credited with the score, and he'll go to the line with a chance for a three-point play.
Take a look at the freshman Marcus Camby making plays on both ends of the court. He makes the excellent defensive block out on the floor, and then he flies down to get the slam dunk on the other end. And that's an area that John Calipari says that most teams really overlook because he runs the court so well. He's able to force the defense all the way back to the baseline. You can either get him the ball or pitch it back out.
Foul was on Camby, his second. Smith with 12 points. And now 13. The free throw cuts the lead to 6. We'll return to Wichita in just a moment.
The Women's Final Four coming soon on CBS.
Mr. Gooden?
That's right.
Any relation to Dwight Gooden?
No.
Okay. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
Short ones.
Tell us about your HP LaserJet printer.
My LaserJet?
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I don't.
Ever?
LaserJets work. What's there to think about?
But if you did?
I don't.
But if you did?
Well, if I had to think about it, I probably wouldn't have one.
But you do have one.
No, I have 2.
Oh.
Is that enough?
Works for me. HP LaserJet printers. You do your job, we'll do ours.
Good idea.
The RCA Home Theater with SRS gives you rich, powerful, theater-like sound with no extra speakers or wires. When there's one in the neighborhood, you'll know it. Now, get up to $100 back on selected RCA home theater televisions.
Trucks are a spiritual thing to me. Something you can depend on. It's just like, you know, my best friend, I guess you might say.
Out on the ranch is where I'm at, and that's where I want the truck to work for me.
I need a truck that's rough like I am.
Introducing the all-new Mazda truck with a 4-liter V6 and a soul to match. The new Mazda truck.
Saddle up and let's go dancing.
Mazda, it just feels right.
A greedy developer targets a historic landmark.
You're a dead man.
Can Jessica keep it from being destroyed?
That's it.
Murder, she wrote. Then, 3 stars says TV Guide and A Entertainment Weekly.
My dad did unspeakable things to us.
Based on the true story, Ultimate Betrayal, Sunday. Parental discretion advised.
CBS Sports' exclusive coverage of the second round of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Mazda, RCA, and by Hewlett-Packard.
Our producer Bob Monsbach, our director Sandy Grossman decided to take a stroll and enjoy the beautiful weather here in Wichita. The weather committee here deserves a pat on the back. It's been in the 70s all week. Here in Wichita, Kansas. Today, outside the Kansas Coliseum, it's nearing 80 degrees. Both teams lighting it up. From the floor in the second half, they were dead even, both at 50% in the first half. Out of bounds, off the hands of Johnny Rose. He tried to buy the call, but did not get away with it. Massachusetts leads by 6.
Maryland's still doing a very good job with their initial press and trap. The problem they're having is with the last man switching over, and now the problem is giving up layups. They're giving UMass an awful lot of opportunities inside.
Dante Bright. Dingle thought he was going to shoot it and went heading to the rim. And John Calipari says to Dante, you should shoot that one.
If you're 2 feet in the basket, you have to take that shot because your offensive team is going to crash the boards.
Only the 5th turnover for UMass against a Maryland team that presses through most of the game. Smith forced a little bit further from the basket by Camby. Lucas kept it alive for the Terrapins. Hip drives into 3 with defenders running at him. Exree Hip has 9 points.
Maryland displaying they can also rebound on the offensive end, get the ball back in their possession, and pitch it back out for the open jumper.
The Terrapins, playing to this point in the second half without Keith Booth, have actually narrowed the deficit. Kellogg wouldn't drop for him, but he'll have 2 free throws. Maryland down by 3 with 14.5 minutes remaining. Foul was on Dwayne Simpkins, his first. Mike Williams, Lou Roe. back in action for UMass. Booth still on the bench. Been there for the first 5.5 minutes of this second half with 4 fouls. Kellogg missed the first. His free throw shooting has really fallen off this year. Last year he shot a team-high 81% from the line. This year only 61%.
Kellogg's done a good job this evening on the rebounding boards. He's got 3 offensive rebounds so far for UMass, an area where he usually doesn't give a lot of contribution.
Massachusetts has a 57-53 lead. 14-22 left in the ball game here in Wichita. Lucas, the fall away. Mario Lucas has Maryland back within 2. 5 points for Lucas off the bench.
That's a nice shot by Lucas. However, his dribble didn't take him anywhere, and that's the first 2 points by a Maryland bench player this afternoon. 9 points by UMass's bench.
Kellogg, high arcing 3 that wouldn't go. Hip is ahead of the field. Kellogg hits him hard. Intentional foul call.
Calipari is not upset with the call. He wanted to know if there was a foul on the shot by Kellogg on their offense, on UMass's offensive end. X3 Hip's going to go down for the shot, and it is a very hard foul. It is called intentional, and look at the reaction by the Maryland bench.
About 15 officials over there, and they all made the right call. Hip. That's the Maryland deficit to 1. John Calipari's team was up 5 at the break. Maryland without Keith Booth is still down 1. And Maryland will have the ball. Will inbound underneath the offensive bucket. Rhodes bounces it into Smith. Lucas. Simpkins trying to get past Kellogg, who shut him off. 20 on the shot clock. Hip for 3. Maryland has the lead.
Maryland's doing a much better job of showing patience. Gary Williams talked about this pregame. This is what he has to do. You know that UMass is going to overplay. Get your dribble penetration and pitch the ball back out.
Simpkins thought Kellogg used his free arm to push off, but the foul call went against Simpkins, his second.
Look at the penetration by Maryland. Take the ball inside, take the defense with you, pitch it back out. You get a chance for this shot just about any time you want it, and look at the reaction from the bench. Maryland is getting back into this game.
Here we go. Just joining us, we mentioned there was some bad blood between the 2 teams after their first meeting in the regular season. Particularly on the Maryland side, they thought they were taunted by the Minutemen. After the Minutemen beat them, Williams lost the handle, and John Calipari thought he was fouled. Keith Booth sees action in the second half for the first time. He reports back with 13-13 left in the game. He left the game with just under 2 minutes left in the first half with 4 fouls. Maryland is on a 9-1 run over the last 2 minutes.
Maryland's finally starting to play a little bit better defense and taking advantage of their offensive opportunities.
Charge called against Joe Smith. And that's his second foul.
Freshman Smith going against the freshman Marcus Camby. Camby gets the better of this trip down the floor.
Maryland led through much of the first half. Their largest lead was 6. Now they're up 2. Just under 13 minutes left. Williams, the pull-up. Camby, the tip. Camby, another tip to tie the game.
Marcus Camby's playing volleyball by himself. When Joe Smith goes out on the floor to challenge the shot, it leaves Camby back there for the offensive rebound, or Lou Roe. Watch Marcus Camby, number 21, is going to come in, tip it back up with his left hand and stay underneath. Joe Smith is actually out of position, not able to get back inside to the last minute. After that, the play is already dead.
And at the other end, Edgar Padilla has just committed his 4th foul for Massachusetts, so he goes to the bench. Booth with 4 for Maryland. Padilla with 4 for Massachusetts. Padilla is not as important to his team as Booth is to the Terrapins. Smith trying to break the tie. He has 14 points. Hip goes to the bench with a well-deserved hand. Wayne Bristol is checked in for the first time today, wearing number 31.
Mixed Hips struggled in the first meeting between these two teams. Only 6 points, 2 out of 8 from the field. 4 turnovers in that first meeting.
Maryland by 2. And applying pressure in the backcourt. Bristol guarding Dingle. Got the ball to Camby away from the double team. Camby rejected, goaltending. Smith was almost directly under the basket when he swatted the shot. Some of the Maryland fans thought Camby traveled on the way to the goal.
Along with myself, I thought Camby might have gotten away with the travel, but you're right. Joe Smith is directly under the basket. That's not a good time to go after that shot. Even if you don't get it, it takes you out of rebounding position, and that's where Joe Smith has to make a better decision.
Camby and Smith continue to play each other to a standstill, and this game is tied at 61. Smith held ball. Well, it can't be much more of a standstill than that. Smith went up. Camby held the ball with him, and UMass gets it on the alternating possession.
Put another feather in the cap of Marcus Camby. He fails to go for the head fake, and Joe Smith, instead of using his body to shield Camby off, he just takes the ball and exposes it. And, of course, Marcus Camby, 2 inches taller, is going to take the ball away.
Camby with a career-high 17 points going head-to-head with his fellow standout freshman. Smith just blocked the shot at Camby. Camby got it back. Camby again.
Marcus Camby has laced him up a little tighter in the second half and has come out ready to play. Playing defense, blocking shots, taking charges, and now he's starting to assert himself on the offensive end.
UMass by 2. 11.5 minutes remaining. Smith, with Camby guarding him, kicked it out to Simpkins for 3. Maryland reclaims the lead.
Well, that's what Maryland has to do. Use Joe Smith sometimes as a decoy.
Kellogg trying to lob it to Roe, nearly threw it in the basket. Then on the long carom, Smith fouled Camby at the free throw line. And Marcus Camby is slow to get up and holding his forehead. 3 fouls on Joe Smith.
Take a look at this long pass by Derek Kellogg. The ball's actually going to hit off the rim. Lou Roe's not able to come up with it, but you see Marcus Camby making the collision with Joe Smith.
We're ball players and we're okay. We're not fat and lazy like the bonus say. In spring we train real hard. Yeah. So we look good on our baseball cards. They're ball players, or so they say. They'd rather be doing ads for Ben Gay. If they ain't in shape, they don't care. Just ink the deal to Hawk underwear. We're ball players and we're okay. Get in shape by opening day. Thanks to these, we'll be ready to play. Oh, ship your butts to AA. Yeah.
Medium 2-topping thin crust pizzas just $12.99 plus 3 months of Showtime free.
It's a hot deal. It's a cool deal. A Domino's, I want it. I need it deal.
2 medium 2-topping thin crust pizzas just $12.99 plus 3 months of great entertainment on Showtime free.
Something for nothing when you call Domino's.
Even with dual airbags, power windows, air conditioning, cruise control, and a powerful 6-cylinder engine, the Mazda 626 still costs less than a 4-cylinder Camry LE, which may explain the popularity of the 626 among those of us who aren't made of money.
Without knowing, American businesses wasted $1 billion last year by using the wrong long-distance company. $1 billion that could have been reinvested in those businesses. That's why MCI announces $1 billion stimulus plan for American business. Get all the savings from Proof Positive. Plus, we'll send you a check that doubles your savings every time you get a Proof Positive statement this year. Call and make the most stimulating investment of all, an investment in your business.
Clint Eastwood returns in his most famous role, Dirty Harry.
Go ahead.
Sudden Impact.
Make my day.
Contains some violent scenes. Monday.
Welcome back to Kansas Coliseum in Wichita. Second round action in the Midwest region. Maryland battling Massachusetts. And the Terrapins with a 1-point lead nearly midway through the second half. Terrapins shooting extremely well here in the second half. And for the game, they've only missed one 3-point field goal out of 7 tries. Marcus Camby and Joe Smith, the freshman big men, battling each other head-to-head, and both have been impressive today. Camby, 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Smith, 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks. But Smith has 3 fouls, and he fouled out of the first meeting this year between these teams. Bright lays it in. Dante Bright puts UMass up by 1. He has 12.
Marcus Camby is out of the game right now, so it should be a time for Maryland to dominate the inside, or at least be able to go in on the offensive end. Both teams have exchanged leads in this game, and Maryland now seems to have a little bit of momentum.
X-Ray Hip has had a terrific game. X-Ray with 15 points today for the Terps. Massachusetts still with a big edge in close to the basket.
That's an edge you would expect. Joe Smith is the only interior scorer for Maryland, whereas UMass has Lou Roe and Marcus Camby who can score down inside.
Williams took a bad shot. John Calipari thought he was pushed, and there was a foul on Lou Roe in the rebound action. Just the first foul on Roe. 4th foul this half committed by the Minutemen. Marcus Camby on the bench at the moment. Maryland with the ball and a 1-point lead, trying to pull off the upset. Hip, count it!
Gary Williams wants to get the high percentage shots, and we talked about Marcus Camby, 6'11" being out of the game. X-Ray Hip is coming around the screen and is going to get the momentum to follow the shot in, and you're going to see the celebration by X-Ray. But also, I like the fact that Maryland is being a little more patient with the ball, making the extra pass, getting the shots that they want.
Hip missed the free throw. Battle for the rebound controlled by Dante Bright. Midway through the second half now. Massachusetts, the 2 seed in the Midwest, in a real battle with Maryland. The 10th seeded Terrapins have a 3-point lead. Camby back in the game. Strong with the shot. Tipped by Bright. Tipped again by Bright. Rebounded by Smith.
Great hands by Joe Smith to be able to come down with the rebound and tuck it away so it wasn't tipped out of his hand.
Hip. Smith for 3. Got it! Timeout, Massachusetts.
On CBS.
Every time Mercedes-Benz introduces a new car, other car companies rush to follow. And when Mercedes-Benz introduces a whole class of new cars, others scramble to catch up. Now Mercedes-Benz is introducing the new E-Class featuring
To upset Massachusetts in second round Midwest region action, and leading the game on the strength of their 3-point field goal shooting. 7 out of 8 is Maryland from beyond the arc. 5 for 5 this half. Overall, here in the second half, they're shooting 75%, and that's a travel against Mike Williams, who has not had a good game for Massachusetts.
Maryland starting to gain a lot of confidence by their defensive pressure, and when they get it on the offensive end, instead of going inside and attacking Camby and Lou Roe, they're now backing the ball up, making the extra pass, and getting wide open shots.
Mike Williams has 9 points in this game, all of them in the first half. Maryland with the ball, down to 9 minutes left. Simpkins, the 2 seed in the Midwest, is in trouble. 9-point lead for Maryland.
The Terrapins are showing a lot of confidence, and they're feeding off of the frenzy from the defensive effort that they're playing out here. They're now starting to switch a little bit quicker on the backside.
The 9-point run ended by Lou Roe with the leaner. That 9-point lead a moment ago was the largest for Maryland. Now it's 7 with 8.5 minutes left.
John Calipari is telling his players to start picking up a little bit higher, make Maryland turn their back on the dribble. Maybe you can get a double team.
Simpkins collided with Kellogg, and Kellogg is called for the foul. His third, so foul trouble at the point guard position for Massachusetts. Padilla has 4, and now Kellogg has 3. Padilla will come back in with his 4 personal.
Gary Williams was really concerned about Dwayne Simpkins' composure, being able to handle the pressure by UMass. In the first meeting, he had 4 fouls and 5 turnovers.
Smith was guarded that time by Roe. He was able to shed him and score. Smith up to 20 points, and the lead back to 9 for the Terps with 8 minutes left.
UMass is gambling so much outside, they're not covering back.
Roe fouled by Hip. Good pass into Roe by Mike Williams, and Exree Hip just picked up his second foul.
Take a look at the pass inside from Rhodes. Nice lock on the seal by Joe Smith to be able to receive that pass, and he did a great job of getting the shot off before the shot blocking ability of Marcus Camby came over.
Keith Booth back in with his 4 fouls. Joe Smith will get a breather. Gary Williams deciding with his team up by 9. It's a chance to get his big man a couple of seconds rest. Probably won't be on the bench for too long. Of course, the Maryland starters played a lot of minutes in the game 2 days ago against St. Louis because it was close virtually throughout. They're not a very deep team.
I'm sure Gary Williams is going to watch the momentum. If UMass starts to come back, then he'll put Joe Smith back in the game. If the momentum starts to change, that's when we're going to start seeing a little bit more substitutions by Maryland.
Dana Dingle, the foul in the backcourt. His second. That puts UMass over the limit. And Gary Williams' team will shoot free throws the rest of the way. For those of you who are just joining us, these two teams met earlier this year in the regular season in Springfield, Massachusetts, not far from the UMass campus. And Massachusetts won by 14, the worst Maryland defeat of the season. Maryland was out-rebounded. UMass shot twice as many free throws. The Maryland players we spoke with yesterday said we're a much better team than we were 2 months ago after going through the ACC schedule. And they were welcoming the opportunity to play UMass again, particularly because they felt the Minutemen talked trash at the end of that game and rubbed it in. Lucas with his free throws, largest lead for Maryland, 10 points, with 7:50 remaining here in Wichita.
A lot of questions were raised with that trash talking. Who's the better conference, the Atlantic 10 or the ACC?
Blocked the call. Again, Williams gave up the ball near midcourt. Dana Dingle whistled for the foul, his third. Maryland was down 5 at the half, and Keith Booth did not play for the first 7 minutes of the second half with 4 fouls. It's been a 15-point swing here in the second half. Maryland up by 10. John Calipari sends Kellogg back in with his 3 fouls. Dante Bright returns. Padilla heads to the bench with Dingle.
John Calipari felt like at the beginning of the game he had a deeper bench. He could go 3, 4, 5 players into his bench, whereas Maryland could only go 2 or 3 players into their bench, even less, and still maintain the same momentum that they're trying to carry.
Maryland is a 69% free throw shooting team. That's a little bit above the national average this year, and they'll need to make free throws undoubtedly down the stretch if they're going to finish off this upset bid. Simpkins made 1 out of 2. The lead is 11. Dwayne Simpkins has 18 points, matching his career high. He had 18 in the first game this year against UMass. Rhodes stripped Bright, and UMass will inbound.
Dwayne Simpkins has started stepping up his efforts, not only on the offensive end, but defensively, and now making better decisions.
Crowd thought Bright traveled, then he definitely turned it over. Threw it right into the hands of Mario Lucas.
Dante Bright seems to be rattled by the pressure that Maryland's applying out on the floor.
7:15 remaining. Maryland leads by 11. And UMass is not a big three-point shooting team. It's going to be tough for them to use that as a weapon to get back into it. Rhodes the miss. Lucas. What a performance off the bench from Mario Lucas.
The Terrapins from Maryland are now starting to gain an awful lot of confidence. On the right side, you're going to see Lucas, who's going to come in and crash the offensive boards. Marcus Camby leaves, and coming from the weak side, Lucas is working hard, getting the stick back, and that's an area that Gary Williams said he had to exploit in order for his team to get in this game.
Timeout, Massachusetts. Maryland smells an upset. The Terps up by 13.
Genuine jockey. Genuine jockey, yeah.
Real quality, real fit. No wonder guys feel comfortable with Jockey.
Genuine jockey.
To build a Mercedes-Benz that's technologically innovative, safe, roomy, with exceptional handling is to be expected. But to do it for under $30,000, now that's a feat of engineering. Introducing the Mercedes-Benz C-Class.
Maryland leads by 13 with 7:05 remaining. They're on a 15-3 run of the Terrapins over the last 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Picking up the slack for Booth in foul trouble has been Mario Lucas. He has 10 points now, all of them in the second half. Joe Smith will check in at the next dead ball. Largest lead for Maryland, 14 points. 7 minutes left. We mentioned that UMass is not a three-point shooting team. They're at 32% for the year. Good catch by Camby. He was fouled and will go to the line. Lucas committed the foul. And that puts Maryland over the limit. 3 fouls on Lucas. Joe Smith returns.
Maryland's doing a terrific job with their pressing on the perimeter. Now in the second half, they're starting to be a lot more aggressive and not let UMass make that diagonal pass inside. This was an exception, but prior to that, they've done an excellent job of defending the basket.
Camby made the first. He has a career-high 20 points. UMass with only 1 timeout remaining. Both teams over the limit. The arrow favors Maryland. UMass is not a particularly good free throw shooting team either. 63% collectively, and they'll need to improve on that down the stretch if they're going to mount a comeback. 12-point lead.
All right, folks, as promised, we're going to switch to where the action's hot. That means we're going to Ogden, where Wisconsin Green Bay has crawled within 1 of Syracuse, under 3 minutes remaining. Let's pick up the play now. Tim Ryan and Ann Myers. Cinderella may be on its way to the Sweet 16.
Back to Ogden, Utah, where it's a 1-point game. I'm Jim Gray. Adrian Autry, who left just moments ago with a bruised left knee, is right now has the ball. He's back in the ball game. He's in quite a bit of pain, but he thinks he's going to be able to play the last 2:43. Tim?
Well, you know he'll stay out there if he can. This is the team leader, the senior, Adrian Autry from New York City. He starts to drive again. Pulls up with a jumper. Still battling for the rebound. Grabbed by Green Bay. Jump ball is signaled. Syracuse with the arrow.
They called a quick jump ball that time. I think the officials just wanted to make sure that no bodies were really going to start banging into each other, because a lot of them went down on the floor, and Ludvigsen getting it. And they called a quick jump ball, even though they're trying to call a timeout. Say, obviously, Autry's knee does not hinder him from penetrating to the basket.
Lawrence Moten, watched by Martina, by Gresh, pardon me. .216 and counting down. 1-point Syracuse lead.
Looking like Moten was just going to clear it for himself, a one-on-one situation.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Rebound Ludvigsen. Green Bay with a chance for the lead. Martinez fakes the 3. Misses the 2. Moten rebounding. 1:39 to go.
Martinez has struggled from the floor. He's hit three three-pointers, but when he's penetrated to the basket, he's missed some easy shots.
Jackson underneath, foul by Gresh. 4 on Gary Gresh, the top Green Bay defender, 128.
Syracuse very quick on picking up when the ball goes inside. Green Bay has been rotating their defense there. They were a little slow, but the post players get double teamed, and they're passing it quickly to the weak side.
Ward on top of Penn. Penn upsetting Nebraska in the first round. Jackson, 5 points. Jackson, an 80% free throw shooter.
Lucius Jackson, who played on the 76ers team.
Missed the second one, but Syracuse rebounds.
Big rebound by Otis Hill.
1:20 on the clock. 2 points. Syracuse lead. If they get through, Jim Boeheim will be wiping plenty of sweat from the brow against this tough Green Bay, Wisconsin team. We've got 1:04 to play here. Syracuse leading by 2, the number 4 over number 12, and Adrian Autry makes it 4 points.
The boards have really been a key for Syracuse this whole game, and also penetrating in that lane.
Ludvigsen.
Some
Autry.
big blocks by Syracuse.
That was Adrian Autry stuffing that shot. Green Bay will keep the ball. 47.2 seconds left. 61-57 Syracuse.
Ben Berlowski coming into the game. He's a three-point shooter for the Phoenix. Gresh, a defensive specialist, going out.
Ben Berlowski, number 34, sophomore guard from Janesville, Wisconsin. He has it for Martinez. Vandervelden. Shoot from outside. Token Martinez. Berlowski is the best. He drives, and he's there. 36.9 seconds left.
Good penetration by Berlowski, but watch Hill take the charge. Stands his ground. Smart move by not going up to try and block the shot. Dick Bennett happy with the move, but not happy with the call.
So it remains a 4-point lead. And Gresh takes the foul. That'll be 5 for him. And Gary Gresh will leave the game with 5 fouls. Berlowski comes right back in to replace Gresh. And it sends Autry to the line, the senior guard. 78% free throw shooter, and of course the most experienced player on the Syracuse team. He misses the first. 30.5 seconds remaining. A 4-point Syracuse lead. Gets the second. Now it's 5. Vandervelden, Autry all over him.
Syracuse on a zone, making Green Bay spread things out.
Nordgaard short with a 3. Berlowski on the rebound, and a foul called on Syracuse.
Syracuse personal foul, number 15, Adrian.
Well, the winner of this game will advance to meet the winner of our second game this afternoon, Missouri and Wisconsin. Missouri, the top seed in the West, taking on Wisconsin, who ousted Cincinnati in round number 1. 17.3 seconds left.
Wisconsin Green Bay substitution number 52.
Berlowski at 84% free throw shooter. And he hits. LeDuc is back in the lineup. Eric LeDuc, a 6'7" senior who picked up 2 early fouls and hasn't played much since. Maybe 1 chip. Four-point margin. 3-point margin.
Substitution for Wisconsin.
Jackson comes in for Wisconsin Green Bay.
Replacing Berlowski.
Orlowski goes out. Eric Jackson, a sophomore guard from Milwaukee, number 12. And he immediately fouls Autry. That was Martinez, pardon me, who fouled him. Sending Autry to the line, and 16 seconds showing on the clock.
Well, Green Bay going to try and have Syracuse beat them from the free throw line. Autry was 1 of 2 the last time he was at the line.
At the free throw line, Adrian Autry.
Syracuse 18 of 24 from the free throw line, but Autry misses the first. Glimmer of hope for Green Bay. Makes the second, back to 4 points. Ludvigsen for Berlowski, and there is Moten again for a block. Ludvigsen follows. He can't drop it. Wallace rebounds. Fouled immediately by Berlowski with 5.3 on the clock. Lawrence Moten has been doing that all game long, anticipating passes, leaping high to block shots. And he earns that smile he has on his face there. Another big play for Lawrence Moten, the junior from Washington, D.C.
Moten with 17 points, only 3 baskets in the second half, but it's been his defense that has really sparked the Orangemen.
He had 29 points against Hawaii, but he's shown the other aspects of his game here as Syracuse will advance and await the winner of Wisconsin, Missouri next here in Ogden, Utah. 64-59. Orlowski, and that is it. The number 4 seeded Orangemen of Syracuse had quite a scare from this scrappy, well-coached Wisconsin Green Bay team. The Phoenix couldn't shoot in the first half. It hurt them. And even though they tightened up and played Dick Bennett-style ball in the second, the quicker, more aggressive Syracuse Orangemen proved to be stronger at the end. 64-59, the Syracuse victory. And so Syracuse into the round of 16, and they will meet the winner of Missouri, the top seed in the West, and Wisconsin. That's our next game here in Ogden, Utah. Chevrolet players of the game from Wisconsin, Green Bay, Jeff Nordgaard, another strong performance for him. And Lawrence Moten of Syracuse, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, an all-around fine game. And now from Ogden, Utah, let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, Timmy, no Cinderella in the Sweet 16 yet. But let's go to Long Island. Penn and Florida, final 4 minutes and change. Here's James Brown, Billy Packer with Penn against Florida.
A rough afternoon for Matt Maloney of Pennsylvania as the Quakers trail by 5 to the 3rd-seeded Florida Gators. Matt Maloney, the outstanding guard for Pennsylvania, 1 of 12 from three-point range, only 7, and he's the team's leading scorer at 14. Brown, deep 3. Rebounded by Anderson. Nice job by Anderson.
Timed it perfectly, didn't he? Weak side.
This is the second game from here at the Nassau Coliseum. Connecticut advanced earlier, beating George Washington, which got an impressive performance from Yinka Dare. Pennsylvania and Florida fighting for the right to move on to the round of 16 from this half of the East bracket.
Well, as we wind on down here, and Penn will have to do something to turn this around if they expect to advance. They come into this game with 16 straight wins, which is the most of any team in the tournament.
We saw a shot of Dimitri Hill catching his breath on the bench, and he's had a good afternoon with 15 points as Jason Anderson drops in the second free throw. Only his third, but a 6-point Florida lead. Foul situation, the possession arrow favors Pennsylvania.
JB, you know, a lot of pro scouts come to watch these games. One guy in the stands, Dick Parker, coaches with the Knicks. Of course, he's here for a lot of reasons. He's the guy that coached that Penn team in '71. And he must be anguishing right now because that team went into the NCAA tournament 26-0. They were at one point 28-0, and then faced Villanova in a game that he'll never forget, and lost 47-90 as Villanova went on to the NCAA championship, eventually played UCLA. So I'm sure he's turning inside right now as his Quakers trying to fight back.
I know about that team all too well.
Yeah, you played against it.
Allen with the rebound and a foul call. Boy, I tell you, Dimitri Hill must be strong, as Allen could not get up off the ground for the follow-up shot.
Well, Jerome Allen majors in strategic management. I wonder what he had to say at that last timeout. Because there needs to be some real strategy now.
I'm sure he had some tactical suggestions.
Young man in the Wharton School.
As a matter of fact, no athletic scholarships given out by Pennsylvania at all, as is the case throughout the Ivy League.
Well, after you leave school, they give you pretty good scholarships.
Game of life. Allen banging them home. 56-52. Allen with 23. 3:15 left.
Good solid screen by the clerk. Smart. Maybe he could rub off Maloney.
Maloney defending Cross.
If you know anything about Florida's team, Cross has been the man in all of these situations throughout the course of this year.
He's got 16.
Tried to draw the foul on that one and got it in anyway.
Make it 18 for Cross.
He thought somebody was going to hit him.
Back up to a 6-point lead with 2:40 left in the ball game. Pierce operating on Cross.
Now there he's matched up with a guard and very comfortable at 6'3" to go over Cross, but not able to do that on the clerk.
Pierce up to 9 points. All other